In the history of cricket, there have been talented players, legendary captains, and once-in-a-generation athletes. But very few stories feel as improbable as the story of Mahendra Singh Dhoni. Because unlike many cricketing icons who emerged from famous academies, powerful cricketing states, or privileged backgrounds, Dhoni came from a city that wasn't even considered part of India's cricketing map. There were no grand expectations, no media hype, no experts predicting greatness, just a young boy from Ranchi with a dream that seemed impossible. And that's what makes this story so fascinating. Because before he lifted the World Cup, before he became Captain Cool, before millions of fans chanted his name in stadiums around the world, there was a time when Dhoni was simply trying to convince people that he deserved a chance. What happened between those 2 points is one of the greatest journeys in sports history. The boy from Ranchi is famous because of MS Dhoni. But when Dhoni was growing up, things were very different. Cricketing opportunities were limited, infrastructure was modest, and very few people believed that India's next superstar could come from there. Dhoni wasn't even obsessed with cricket at first. As a young student, he was more interested in football. In fact, he played as a goalkeeper. It was only when a coach noticed his reflexes and suggested he try wicket-keeping that everything changed. That single decision altered the course of his life. Almost immediately, people began noticing something different about him. His reactions were quick. His confidence stood out. And while others followed conventional methods, Dhoni seemed to play with a natural instinct that couldn't be taught. But talent alone wasn't enough. India was full of talented cricketers. Breaking through was another challenge entirely. Chasing a dream nobody could see. As Dhoni grew older, the gap between his dream and reality became obvious. Most future Indian stars were developing in major cricketing centres. They had better facilities, stronger networks, and more visibility. Dhoni had none of those advantages, yet he refused to quit. He spent years playing domestic cricket, travelling long distances, and fighting for opportunities that many players took for granted. There were no guarantees, no shortcuts, and no certainty that all the sacrifices would eventually pay off. For every successful cricketer, thousands disappear before reaching the top. At times, Dhoni seemed destined to become one of those forgotten names. Then life became even more difficult. The ticket collector. One of the most remarkable chapters in Dhoni's journey came when he worked as a ticket collector for Indian Railways in Kharagpur. Imagine that for a moment. The future captain of India. The future World Cup winning legend. Checking train tickets while trying to keep his cricket dream alive. Many people would have accepted that life. Many would have concluded that cricket simply wasn't meant to be. But Dhoni continued practicing, continued believing, continued working. His job paid the bills, but his heart remained on the cricket field. Years later, this chapter would become one of the most inspiring parts of his story because it proved something important. Greatness doesn't always begin in stadiums. Sometimes it begins in ordinary places where nobody is watching. The breakthrough. Eventually, performances in domestic cricket started attracting attention. Dhoni wasn't playing like anyone else. His batting was aggressive, fearless.
Big shot, leg side, sixer! Oh, he's gone on the back. Here we go, last ball, through the offside, it's running through, could be run out! Is he run out?
Unpredictable. At a time when wicket-keepers were often selected primarily for their keeping skills, Dhoni was changing expectations. He could destroy bowling attacks. He could finish matches. And he could do it with extraordinary confidence. Selectors began noticing. Opportunities followed. Then came the moment that changed everything. A call-up to the Indian national team. The dream was finally becoming reality, but the beginning wasn't perfect. His international debut ended with a duck. 0 runs. For many players, such a start can destroy confidence. For Dhoni, it became fuel. Arrival of a superstar. A few months later, the cricket world witnessed something unforgettable. Against Pakistan in Visakhapatnam, Dhoni smashed 148 runs. Suddenly, everyone was paying attention. This wasn't just another young player. This was someone special. Then came 183 not out against Sri Lanka. At the time, it was one of the greatest ODI innings ever played by a wicketkeeper. His long hair became iconic. His fearless batting became must-watch entertainment. And his popularity exploded. India had discovered a new superstar, but the biggest chapter of his story was still ahead.
That is brilliantly done. India win the Champions Trophy as England capitulate.
The winners of the Champions Trophy 2013, India.
A quick message from today's sponsor. If you're someone who follows cricket closely enough to watch a full video like this, you've probably thought about betting on a match at some point. And if you have, the app you use actually makes a big difference. I've been using Megapari for IPL and international matches this season. No deposit limits, fast withdrawals and odds that are genuinely competitive compared to most other apps. If you want to try it, use code INDM when you sign up. It doubles your first deposit automatically, so whatever you put in, you start with double. Now let's get back to the story. The captain nobody expected. When Dhoni became India's captain, not everyone was convinced. He wasn't the loudest player. He wasn't the most emotional. He rarely showed what he was thinking. But beneath that calm exterior was an extraordinary cricketing mind. He trusted his instincts. He remained calm under pressure. And most importantly, he inspired confidence. Players believed in him because he believed in them. Soon results began proving the doubters wrong. The 2007 World Cup disaster before glory came heartbreak. India's campaign in the 2007 ODI World Cup ended in disaster. The team crashed out early. Fans were furious. Criticism was relentless. Even Dhoni became a target. For many teams, such a failure would have created long-term damage. Instead, it became a turning point. Because later that same year, a new tournament arrived. A tournament nobody knew would change Indian cricket forever. The inaugural T20 World Cup. 9. The beginning of Captain Cool with a young squad and relatively low expectations, Dhoni led India into the 2007 T20 World Cup. What followed was extraordinary. India played fearless cricket. Dhoni made bold decisions. He backed young players. And somehow, against all expectations, India reached the final. Then came one of the most famous moments in cricket history. Pakistan needed just a few runs. The pressure was immense, and Dhoni trusted Joginder Sharma with the final over. It looked risky. It looked dangerous. It worked. India became world champions. A new era had begun. The greatest night of all. Even after winning the T20 World Cup.
Got him.
Look at that catch. Super catch.
It'll be 5 bowlers will bowl 1 ball each. And that'll be at the stumps. Only the bowler and the keeper in that case, but just one needed for Pakistan.
One dream remained unfinished. The ODI World Cup. India had been waiting since 1983. An entire generation wanted to see the trophy return home. In 2011, that opportunity finally arrived. The tournament captured the imagination of the entire nation. Every match felt enormous. Every victory increased expectations. Then India reached the final against Sri Lanka. What happened next is now part of sporting history. Dhoni promoted himself up the batting order. It was a decision that surprised almost everyone. The pressure was unimaginable. Yet he looked completely calm. And then came the shot. Nuwan Kulasekara bowled. Dhoni swung. The ball sailed into the night sky. 6. India had won the World Cup. The image of Dhoni holding the pose became immortal. For millions of fans, it remains one of the greatest moments they have ever witnessed. More than a cricketer. By this point, Dhoni had become more than a player. He had become a symbol of composure, a symbol of leadership, a symbol of believing in yourself even when nobody else does. Young athletes across India looked at his journey and realized that greatness wasn't limited to major cities. You didn't need the perfect background. You didn't need powerful connections. You needed belief. You needed persistence. And you needed the courage to keep going when success seemed impossible. The legacy statistics alone cannot explain MS Dhoni's impact. Yes, he won ICC trophies. Yes, he became one of the greatest captains in cricket history. Yes, he transformed Indian cricket. But numbers only tell part of the story. His real legacy lies in what he represents. The boy from Ranchi, the ticket collector, the outsider, the dreamer. The man who refused to give up. Every generation gets a few stories that feel larger than sport itself. MS Dhoni's story is one of them. Because when people look back at his journey, they won't just remember the trophies, they'll remember the lesson that impossible dreams are only impossible until someone achieves them. And perhaps that's why, years after his greatest triumphs, millions still admire him. Not just for what he won, but for where he started and how unbelievably far he traveled. Before you go, if you're someone who follows cricket closely enough to enjoy stories like this, don't forget about today's sponsor, Mega Pari. Use promo code INDM when signing up to double your first deposit automatically. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe because the next incredible cricket story is coming soon.